Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, let's explore together how to approach the overwhelming feelings of anxiety about the future that so many of us experience. If you've been feeling consumed by worries about what's coming next, whether it's career uncertainty, relationship concerns, or simply the weight of not knowing what tomorrow holds, you're absolutely not alone. Many people find themselves caught in cycles of future-focused anxiety that can feel impossible to break. Today, we'll examine what cutting-edge neuroscience tells us about these experiences and discover evidence-based approaches that can help transform your relationship with uncertainty. What's fascinating about recent neuroscience research is how much we've learned about the specific brain mechanisms underlying future anxiety. Current research suggests that anxiety about the future isn't simply psychological worry, it's rooted in measurable changes within specific brain circuits. A research institution published groundbreaking findings showing that future anxiety stems from dysregulation within the prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex, with these areas showing consistent abnormalities across various anxiety disorders. The key discovery is that coordination between the amygdala and ventromedial prefrontal cortex is crucial for healthy uncertainty processing. When this neural circuitry becomes compromised, our brains interpret normal uncertainty as threatening rather than manageable. Brain imaging studies have revealed that individuals with high anxiety about the future display aberrant recruitment of fear extinction circuitry when facing uncertain scenarios. This research found that the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and dorsal anterior cingulate cortex interact differently in people with trait anxiety during uncertainty tasks. This suggests that our brains can actually be trained to process uncertainty more adaptively. What's particularly encouraging is that these neural patterns aren't fixed. Research institutions have demonstrated that targeted interventions can literally rewire these circuits. Recent meta-analytic research from multiple universities shows that cognitive behavioral therapy specifically targeting uncertainty tolerance produces large effect sizes, ranging from 0.88 to 1.35, for reducing anxiety and worry symptoms. This research examined thousands of participants and found that CBT approaches directly addressing uncertainty tolerance are significantly more effective than general anxiety treatments. Additionally, a research institution's findings reveal that mindfulness plays a crucial moderating role in how we respond to uncertainty. The study showed that negative emotions mediate the relationship between uncertainty and our ability to function adaptively, but mindfulness training strengthens our capacity to respond skillfully to unknown future scenarios. This demonstrates that uncertainty tolerance isn't a fixed personality trait but rather a learnable skill that can be developed through practice. The research also indicates that intolerance of uncertainty feeds directly into worry cycles. Worry involves our minds generating negative, what-if scenarios in an attempt to reduce the unknown and feel more certain. However, complete certainty is always out of reach, which feeds the relentless cycle of anxiety and worry about the future. Now let's explore the specific, evidence-based methods that research shows can help transform your relationship with future uncertainty. The first method is prefrontal cortex uncertainty training, which involves developing what researchers call probability-based thinking versus possibility-based thinking. This technique takes about 10 minutes daily and helps retrain your rational mind to evaluate realistic likelihoods rather than getting caught in anxious possibilities. Here's exactly how this works. When a future worry arises, pause and ask yourself two specific questions. What's the actual likelihood of this happening? And, what's theoretically possible? Your anxious mind tends to focus on what's possible, no matter how remote, while your rational mind can evaluate probability based on evidence. For example, if you're worried about job security, the anxious mind might say, it's possible I could be fired, while the rational mind might assess, based on my performance reviews and company stability, what's the realistic probability? Research shows this method is effective because it engages the prefrontal cortex areas responsible for rational evaluation while reducing amygdala reactivity. Practice this during morning hours when prefrontal function is typically strongest. The key is consistently redirecting your attention from possibility-based fears to probability-based assessments. The second method is uncertainty exposure protocol, which involves gradually building your tolerance for unknown outcomes through controlled practice. This approach is based on the principle that avoidance of uncertainty actually increases anxiety over time, while gentle exposure builds resilience. Start with small uncertain situations you can somewhat control, such as trying a new route to work, ordering unfamiliar food, or watching a movie without reading reviews first. The effectiveness of this method lies in training your nervous system to recognize that uncertainty itself isn't dangerous. Many people with future anxiety have developed patterns of seeking excessive certainty and control, which paradoxically increases anxiety when uncertainty inevitably arises. By intentionally engaging with small uncertainties, you're essentially training your brain's threat detection system to recalibrate its responses. Gradually increase your uncertainty tolerance by engaging with slightly larger unknowns each week. This might progress from small daily uncertainties to larger unknowns like applying for new opportunities or having important conversations without scripting every detail. The research shows that this graded exposure approach allows the prefrontal cortex to develop better regulation of the amygdala's fear responses. The third method is mindful uncertainty acceptance, which combines mindfulness techniques with uncertainty tolerance training. When future anxiety arises, use the RAIN technique. Recognize what you're feeling without judgment, allow the emotion to exist without trying to change it immediately, investigate the emotion with curious awareness, and nurture yourself with the same kindness you'd show a friend facing uncertainty. This method works because it develops what researchers call metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe your thoughts and emotions without being consumed by them. Instead of getting caught up in anxious future scenarios, you learn to notice when your mind creates these scenarios and choose how to respond. The research shows that this kind of mindful awareness significantly reduces the emotional impact of uncertain thoughts. Practice observing uncertain thoughts without immediately jumping into problem solving or worry mode. Many people with future anxiety have developed habits of immediately trying to resolve any uncertain thought through mental planning or worry. However, this actually strengthens the neural pathways that interpret uncertainty as problematic rather than neutral. The fourth method is flexible future thinking, which involves training your brain to generate multiple possible outcomes for uncertain situations. Instead of defaulting to worst-case scenarios, practice creating neutral and positive possibilities alongside concerning ones. When a future worry arises, deliberately write down or mentally generate 3 possible outcomes, 1 negative, 1 neutral, and 1 positive. This technique is effective because it engages the prefrontal cortex's executive function capabilities while reducing the amygdala's tendency to focus exclusively on threats. Research shows that people with future anxiety often have cognitive patterns that automatically select the most concerning possibility from any uncertain situation. By practicing flexible thinking, you're training your brain to hold multiple possibilities simultaneously without automatically choosing the most anxiety-provoking option. Replace habitual, what if, worrying with, what is, present moment awareness. When you notice your mind spinning future scenarios, gently redirect attention to what's actually happening right now. This isn't about suppressing future-oriented thinking entirely, but rather developing the ability to choose when and how to engage with future possibilities. The fifth method involves physiological regulation during uncertainty, recognizing that future anxiety often manifests in physical symptoms like racing heart, shallow breathing, or muscle tension. Use box breathing, inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, and holding empty for 4, when uncertainty activates your nervous system. This technique directly influences the vagus nerve and helps shift your autonomic nervous system from fight or flight to rest and digest mode. Practice progressive muscle relaxation while visualizing uncertain future scenarios. This approach, supported by research on exposure therapy, helps your body learn that uncertainty itself doesn't require a stress response. Start with brief 2-minute sessions of sitting with uncertainty while maintaining relaxed breathing and muscle tension, gradually building to 10-minute sessions. The research shows that building tolerance for the physical sensations that accompany not knowing is crucial for reducing future anxiety. Many people develop anxiety about their anxiety, creating secondary stress responses to the normal physiological experiences of uncertainty. By learning to stay present with these sensations without resistance, you're breaking this cycle. To summarize what we discussed today, first, future anxiety stems from specific brain circuits involving the prefrontal cortex and amygdala that can be retrained through targeted practice. Second, your prefrontal cortex can learn to process uncertainty as neutral information rather than a threat requiring immediate resolution. Third, probability-based thinking helps override possibility-based anxious scenarios by engaging rational evaluation rather than fear-based speculation. Fourth, mindfulness training transforms how uncertainty affects your emotional and behavioral responses by developing metacognitive awareness. Fifth, small daily uncertainty exposures build neural tolerance pathways through gradual, controlled practice with unknown outcomes. Sixth, flexible thinking allows you to hold multiple future possibilities simultaneously without automatically catastrophizing or selecting worst-case scenarios. As we wrap up today's discussion, remember that learning to live peacefully with uncertainty is one of life's essential skills. The research consistently shows that while many future events remain outside our control, our responses to uncertainty can be consciously developed and strengthened. These evidence-based techniques offer concrete ways to transform anxiety about the future into adaptive resilience. Change often happens gradually, but each time you practice these methods, you're literally rewiring your brain's relationship with the unknown. If today's discussion provided any support for your journey with future anxiety, please hit the like button. If you'd like to continue learning about mental health and evidence-based approaches together, please subscribe to our channel. May your hearts feel a little lighter when facing life's uncertainties, and thank you for listening until the end today.